Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Old Ops guy, Grifkin with you from the Sports Insanity Network. Usually we do batter up, but today we are just going to have a discussion on the New York Metropolitans, our baseball team, as they prepare for a 6 game homestand starting tonight with three. That's the St. Louis Cardinals, and then three this weekend with the rival Atlanta Braves. Mark, good morning. How are you?
Still a little disappointed from last night, but we'll move on from that. Otherwise, sky's blue, water's wet, and it's a otherwise nice day in New York.
Mm. Last night was tough for the Knicks, and I don't know if you and Dan discussed, but it was also a tough night for the guys in stripes, in my opinion.
No, we did not. We did not discuss the Yankees. We only did basketball.
Obviously, about the officials, but okay.
Oh well, I didn't. The officials weren't in stripes; they were in gray shirts. So if you would have said the gray
I'm used to
shirts,
calling them stripes because of the zebras in the NFL.
I
As the Mets enter play on today, June the 9th, they are 29 and 36. But Mark, through all the issues and all the problems that we've seen through the first 2+ months, the New York Mets find themselves 5 games out of that last wild card spot.
it's a gift. I'm sorry. And look, we can hide behind whatever we want to hide behind. The key thing here is injuries, and that's where I'm going to leave it. However, to be where they are with the injuries they sustained is a gift. However, pizzas we'll get into it, but pizzas are going to be coming back. The question is when. But to be five out, I'm encouraged.
This is low key an encouraging sign because they could have been dead and buried a while ago. And the last homestand that they had before last week when they went on the road, by the way, 6 game road trip, 3-3 through Seattle and San Diego. We'll get into the San Diego series in a second. But they beat up on the Marlins pretty good, which was revenge for when the Marlins swept them. So now you see some of these pieces are coming together. And the two guys I want to start this off with, I think have been the most impressive Mets over the last couple of weeks. And ironically enough, it's the kids. It's Carson Bench, who was 5 for 5 on Sunday against the
Yeah.
Padres. And it was AJ Ewing, who I think had the best at bat of the weekend Saturday night. Second game was against San Diego. Top of the ninth inning against Mason Miller, who'd been dominant, and he draws a walk. And he had the guts to use an ABS challenge to help him out.
For a young kid to do an ABS challenge and not only be over confident about it, but to get it in that position was it shows the maturity of how he is and what we have to look forward to.
And I think the coolest thing about both of them, because we've talked about this for a long time when it comes to the Mets, especially during the winter, the outfield defense had not been great. These two guys can go get it.
I love watching AJ Ewing out there. Carson Binge, we have talked about since opening day when he made the roster and everything. He's had his moments, obviously, going 5 for 5 this weekend. I mean, not many, not many major leaguers can say they ever went 5 for 5. Some of the greats, whatever. Cementing their spots now is crucial because come next year, you want to be in that likeness and shown you're ready for this big time. The question becomes what they do at the trade deadline. And we'll get into that, but
Right. They've still got a month. And something you talked about at the top of this. They've got some guys coming back. Francisco Alvarez played 9 innings at Syracuse yesterday. I would presume if he's not back today, it's close.
I would assume it, like you just said, if he's not back tonight, it'll be this weekend.
But by the way, it's what, like 3 weeks after knee surgery or whatever it was.
I'll give the kid credit, but I truly hope it's the right move.
Well, here's the thing that could benefit him with the universal DH in play. They could still catch Luis Torrens on certain day on Moses. By the way, Luis Torrens also when Alvarez went down. Give that guy credit. He swung with that really well.
A nice home run again. Nice home run the other night. He's actually been one of the bigger bright spots of veteran players.
So Alvarez is on the mend. Another guy on the mend coming back, but there's still way more questions than answers is Kodai Senga.
I don't know what the plan is for him. They're not really talking much about it because let's face it, and as much as I've written about him and backed him, got to be true of what is become of him. Unfortunately, yeah, last year you got that injury when with the hamstring with the throw from Alonso. Then the back went. Now the back this year. Can we say the Kodai Senga experiment has finally failed? And if he's even going to make it back, if he comes back, is he a starter or are you going to put him in the bullpen?
So I've been thinking about this, and I've been wrapping my mind because you want him to be an innings guy, but at the same time, he can't cross that threshold. He's not a 6 inning guy at the moment. So my thought process is this: when you do these quote unquote bullpen games, you have one bulk guy. So I got a theory here that may not work for certain people, but it's an idea. What if you go Kodai Senga for 3 innings and then you carry the ball over to David Peterson, who gives you the ball for the next 3 to 4 innings?
See,
And that carries you to 7 innings. You just got to get through the eighth and ninth.
And that would be probably one of the better ways to utilize Senga. As long as Senga can get out of the first inning without trouble. Senga has the ability to pitch, and we've seen flashes of real greatness, not in the last year, but when he first came over. If he's truly healthy and he can get back to the form when he came over, then using him on a 3 inning basis and pairing him with, like you said, Peterson, even Manaea, who's been a little bit better as of lately, that might be a way to do it. I don't like this 1 inning crap. I'm sorry.
It's not
I
based.
understand why they're doing it because you're in a lack of starters. But I hate this 1 inning, one and a half inning, then another two. Come on.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. I don't love the idea of, oh, well, we're gonna use Brosbob for an inning. Oh, now Sean and I just Sean and I pitch the first inning. Let's go. You're you
Right.
you you you're a veteran. You've done it before. Let's go. And let me be honest with you, because I do want to give Sean and I some credit here, because we know how awful he was to start the year.
Hmm.
But he's pitched better his last couple of times now, and he was really good on Sunday against the Padres.
Yes.
And
He had a
go ahead.
no, thanks. He had a couple of nice big innings and against some really good batters as well.
Yeah, and if you look at the Met rotation right now, it's Freddie Peralta who gets the ball tonight. We'll get into the contract talk in a minute. Christian Scott gets the ball tomorrow. Christian Scott's been really good for the most part since his first start.
Yep.
Nolan McLean has struggled, but you know what? Young pitcher, it's going to happen. And then you're getting into the Manaya and Peterson and their struggles. But at the same time, Mark, Peterson's had moments, Manaya's had moments. But the other thing they've had is the bullpen, for the most part, has been really good.
For the most part, yes.
You know, Devin Williams has had some meltdowns, but sometimes those are non-save issues, and we know how that works.
Right.
Luke Weaver's been a stud,
What is it? 17 scoreless innings, I believe it is now.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Rayleigh's been really good. They just got AJ Minter back.
See, the pitching is starting to come alive. And to me, it's a little too late. We're right now in June, and the pitching should have been stellar for this team since day one.
Well, the pitching's listen. I think the pitching overall has been pretty good most of the year. The one complaint is the starters just haven't gone deep enough in the
And
game.
that's the biggest problem.
And
Because even if they give you five good, there's no guarantee the bullpen's going to give you five good as well.
right, which leads us into this, because you knew Minaya and Peterson, they're not 6 inning, 6 shutout inning guys. They're just
Not
not
anymore.
that.
No.
Senga, that's a whole nother story. And then you're relying on McLean to carry you. And while he was really good early, he's just got to make adjustments as the league adjusts to him.
Mm-hmm. And you said it, Keeley, right there. As the league adjusts to him, they know what he can throw. Now it's just a matter of changing the tune up. That's all.
And by the way, he was really good Saturday night against the Padres.
Yes.
So that was a really good start for him. The guy we'll focus on here is Freddie Peralta. And Freddie was really good in his last start in Seattle. He gave a leadoff homer to J.P. Crawford, but he really settled in. 6 innings, 1 earned run. It was what it was. We know Freddie Peralta's a UFA. There are rumors he wants a Max Fried-like contract in free agency. The question would be, should the Mets give him something like that? And I like Freddie Peralta. He hasn't earned a Max Fried-like deal at the moment.
See, here's the thing. We have discussed on the network multiple times that these long contracts never pan out, especially for a pitcher. Let's be honest. A pitcher's lifetime style in baseball is not what it used to be. Much different ball game. The rumor is, and is that Peralta wants at least an 8-year deal worth between 200 and 225 million dollars. The money number doesn't bother me. It's the years that bothered me. It's too much to give. If the Mets want to be serious and talk about going after a Tyreek Skubal, they cannot afford to get. Let me rephrase that. They can afford because Steve Cohen can do what he wants. But let's be honest. You're not going to have two players making $230 million at the top of your rotation. The Yankees have had it, and it has not panned out at all. Between Cole, Rodon, Fried, look at the money right there. And then you have to figure Cam Schroeder is going to get one hell of a bump.
And Freddie Peralta just turned 30 the other day.
Right. I'm not giving him an 8-year deal. Would I consider it on a 4-year deal? Not for that big of money, but in the comparable AAV of what he would want on 8 to 18. I just not giving him 8 years.
We're in agreement because I wouldn't give him that on term. I think that is. I think the dates. I think this will get addressed in the CBA as well. I think the days you're seeing of those 10-year contracts is over. I don't think you're going to see a lot of that. So, Freddie Peralta is a very good pitcher. Freddie Peralta hasn't been great for the Mets. He's 4-4 with a 3.63. But is that all on Freddie Peralta? No, there are days the Mets don't score for him, and we'll get into the offense. There are days Freddie's just not great, which, you're not going to have 30 great starts in a season unless you're Greg Maddux. I'm okay with bringing Freddie Peralta back. You're right in terms of the term. The number I'm not going to go past, though, is 5 years.
I wouldn't even go 5.
Well, listen, if I'm going to play negotiator, I know I have to give on some. And plus, if I give him the extra years or year, he may have to come down on AAV. So you're going to have to play the give and take with that. Now,
can make it a team option.
Right, you use club option, whatever. Now, if he thinks he can get a better offer on the market, then it's see you later. But here's the thing that the Mets are going to have to do at this point. If the Mets are still 5 out or whatever, it's going to be out of the wild card. They're going to have to pick a direction by the trade deadline. And Freddie Peralta might be the best starting pitcher on the market if the Mets deem themselves out of it. That's why this stretch here, Cardinals, Braves, Reds, and they play the Phillies. This stretch is massive for the New York Mets.
And coming to the trade and coming into the trade deadline, you're facing two teams that might just talk about. Forget about the Cardinals. They're facing Atlanta and Philadelphia. They cannot afford to lose those series. They must take the series, both of them, 2 out of 3 games. I'm not saying they have to sweep both. That would be fine. But they have to win both series.
You say don't look at the Cardinals. Cardinals on that first wild card. So
no, well, I'm saying don't look at the Cardinals because they have to focus on catching up against the East if they're going to prove they're worthy of anything. The Cardinals are where they are. I mean, I haven't figured out how they are where they are right now, but
youngest team in baseball.
I mean, congrats to them, but I'm more worried and I'm more focused on Philadelphia and Atlanta. If the Mets fall out even worse, let's say 9 games. Then I think you have to make a decision with Freddie Peralta. Well, we know Skubal could possibly be a free agent, and the free agent list is big for pitchers coming up next year. I don't have to get into it right now. If the
I
Mets are out of
read
it, they can be Freddie Peralta will be used as one of the biggest trade chips of the year. And it could probably land some big pieces.
Just give me a second here. I am gonna get you the
Thank you.
free
Makes
agent.
it because besides obviously the biggest name is Skubal, who will be a free agent at the end of this year if he is not traded or resigned at the time.
All right, so this is from MLB Trade Rumors. Skubal, Peralta, Josh Chisholm is a hitter. Michael King, I believe, has an opt out. They're saying, yep, he's got an opt out.
Okay.
Casey Mize, the former first pick from the Tigers,
Tigers.
has had some injury issues.
It had his moments though.
Oh yeah, Morehomes out of the bullpen in San Diego. Other names they have Chris Bubich, Kevin Gosman, Sonny Gray, Clay Holmes, Shota Imanaga, Nick Martinez.
There's a lot of names.
Yeah, there are names.
There are names that that Steve Cohen can go and get to replace Freddie Peralta. However, if the Mets, let's now flip it to the other way, let's say they're within, let's move it up 1 game, 4 games. I'm calling Detroit because Detroit is already signaling that they are not going to be able to offer Skubal what he wants. I don't think Detroit, I have to take a look quickly before I absolutely screw up. Detroit is sitting 9 games out and in the division, and they're 5.5 out. We know Skubal yesterday pitched 5 scoreless innings in his rehab start. I'm sorry, I'm not surprised that it was 5 scoreless against kids who could never seen the lights of a Skubal.
Yeah,
I need to see him pitch like that when he comes back to prove to me he's back. If the Tigers drop down and the Mets are up, I think the Mets can make a move to grab Skubal because I don't think Detroit is going to let him go for nothing. It would be the dumbest move ever. Like, no offense. The Yankees gave up the whole goddamn keys to the kingdom for Juan Soto for 1 year, didn't even get to the World Series for him to come to the Mets.
they did get to the World Series. They just didn't win it.
Sorry, not win the World Series. And he comes to the Mets. My bad. Sometimes when I'm talking fast, I make mistakes. But
We all do.
if the Mets are serious, the question becomes, what are you giving up to get Skubal? You already have your top prospects up here.
Right. That would be the question. The question for Detroit would be, what do you want? Do you want guys who are ready, guys who are already at the big league level, or do you want guys who are still in double A, triple A, or whatever?
Right.
So maybe now this would offset money probably for the year. Maybe you center the deal around someone like, I'm not saying it's 1-for-1. Obviously, the Mets would have to have more. Maybe you throw Senga to Detroit. Like, hey, this offsets the money, and then here's some prospects to go. I know one guy I would love to include in the trade. I just don't know if they'll do it.
Oh,
All right. I'm gonna say this, and I don't want to sound disrespectful because he was an important piece on the team in 24. I don't need to see Mark Vientos anymore. I'm out. I am officially out on Mark Vientos. I'm just at this point, Mark. Jared Young is playing a good enough first base.
yep.
Brett Beatty's giving me great defense at third. I don't care what Beatty hits. By the way, Beatty's starting to hit.
His He's starting to come around a little bit, but his defense has been much better. Yes.
And so Vientos is a man without a position. And for him to DH, well, guess what? The second part of DH is hitter
And he's
and
not
hit.
doing that. Right.
Right. So I don't know if it's a change of scenery would do him good because to me, there are times he looks great and there are other times he looks lost.
And then you just also brought up a very good point. Young is starting to play a really great first base. And now Polanco, who was rehabbing, has been shut down again. This has been one of the worst Met problems is signing players who have injury problems. Mike and I had stressed this with Polanco, and we also said, yeah, we love the idea of getting Robert. The question is, how healthy is he going to be with that back issue? Well, now we're seeing Polanco. We don't know when Polanco's coming back, and it's pretty much they move Robert to the 60-day deal. We don't know when he's coming back.
Right.
Lindor has been.
I'm sure Stearns or Mendoza will talk today about it, but there have been reports by the end of the month they think Lindor could be back.
They're saying by the end of June. You get Lindor back at the end of June, and he's gonna take a few. He's not gonna come up and hit 800 with 50 home runs. No, he's gonna need some time to adjust. The question is it gonna be too late? That's the key.
Well, here's another interesting thought. What do you do with Lindor? Where do you put Lindor in the lineup when he comes back? Because I know where I would put him. I'm curious where you put him.
With what's been going on now, I would look at him for the 3 spot. I would continue with the 1-2 the way it is. I would look at him for the 3 spot. Let him get some protection. Instead of leading off and pitching around them, or even put him at second, get hit. And with the way the Mets are getting on base lately, I don't want him hitting leadoff because that gives a reason to pitch around him. Give them a reason to throw him something he can hit. So start him second, third. I mean, it would be an ultimate smack to the face. You put him anything farther than fourth, but he's not your cleanup hitter. Right? No. Get some guys around him who can swing and protect him. Let him get pitches he's going to see more for a while. And if he starts hitting, then you can talk about moving it around a little bit.
Okay, so you say hit him 3.
Yep.
I'm moving him up 1. I would hit him 2. I'd hit him behind bench. The one problem I would foresee with this, though, is when you're facing a right-handed pitcher, you're leading off 3 lefties.
Correct.
So that's just a thing that maybe they can work out. But I would hit him 2 because I think there's a lot of things you could do with him in the 2 hole, especially with Benj leading off. You play hit and run.
Yes, that Lindor would be great at doing that because he puts the ball in play.
And by the way, we talk about protection. Him in front of Soto You know,
And
then
is
you have
he's
to think
gonna
about who you hit behind Soto, but it's a whole nother conversation.
see? We're all used to the cleanup hitter being your. I'm gonna say it like this: Pete Alonso type character, 40 home runs, yeah, the power and all that. The game is changing where the designated hit, I mean, your cleanup hitter doesn't have to be the guy who's going to hit you a home run every time. Teams are experimenting with this all over. Speed pays more than a home run at times. And other teams are starting to use this that way. I think for the Mets, there is no cleanup hitter. You want to call intentional clean. It would be Soto, but that you don't want Soto batting fourth
Nope, you want him in that 3 hole.
in that 2 or 3 hole. That's where he belongs, and that's where Lindor belongs. Who's going to
So,
be
so,
for?
so
Anybody can be for.
we're opening up cleanup here, and that leads us into Bo Bichette, who let's be honest about Bo. He has not been great to start, but it looks like he had a decent series in Seattle.
Yes.
He had a good couple of games in San Diego. It seems like with the warmer weather, Bo Bichette and Marcus Semien both are starting to heat up.
Well, Marcus Simeon has been on a tear. 4 home runs in his last like 6 games. And that's the Marcus Simeon we're used to seeing. The contact hitter with the occasional power. Now, this isn't occasional. This has just been really good hitting. He's really seeing the ball well. Bichette, on the other hand, is not knocking him out of the park, but Bichette is getting those singles, those doubles that he was getting so much in Toronto.
Yeah.
The Mets don't need to hit 50 home runs. The Mets can win by, and Mike and I have said this along with everybody else in the network, by small ball. Jorge Polanco is done. I'm sorry. He was the one signing I hated. I understand why they signed him because they felt the need and the rush to get a first baseman after Alonso was gone and there was nobody to stop the ball if it rolled there on itself. But don't tell me Polanco's coming back to play first when Jared Young's doing fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Jared Young can play at this level the whole year. We'll see. But the trade deadline could bring in a first baseman. I just don't know who.
And you got the possibility of calling up Ryan Clifford, who is hitting well in Syracuse. Now I
It's
know
having her.
Stearns probably doesn't want to use that chip just yet because he's done it with Ewing and he tried it with Morabito and that didn't work. And although that kid can run through a wall,
And
literally.
then also look what's happened to Jonathan.
Well,
They call
listen,
him up. He had a decent start, then he got wrecked, and then he was a little wild, and then sent down again. This kid is a kid, and he's going to start. Well, the more times he gets called up, and the more times he's getting set down, it's going to start hitting confidence levels.
yeah, and that's a great point. So, but I think also to your point, right now Jared Young's played well at first base. Brett Beatty is kind of learning first base on the fly. Now the reason why I say Beatty is because eventually Lindor's coming back. He's going to go over to short, and I'm going to presume they're going to put Bo back in third, like that was their plan. And so Beatty, if he's going to be in the lineup, needs a position unless you're going to DH him because
That's
I
where I
really don't
figured
want to see
Beatty.
Brett Beatty in the outfield anymore.
No, I think Brett Beatty will be moved as to the DH. I think because obviously, or you really want to play fun, you can keep Brett Beatty and let Bichette be your designated hitter for a while.
You could do
If
that.
Beatty if Beatty is playing the better defense, let Beatty stay in there and let Bichette DH.
And by the way, Lindor's not going to probably be able to play short every day. That's the other part
Correct.
of it. Yeah.
So
So
that's where Bichette's experience is going to help.
and Bichette and Simeon, like we said, Simeon especially, he's starting to those balls that weren't carrying from earlier in the year, they're starting to carry.
Yeah, as the warmer weather moves in.
And that is an important factor for where he hits in the lineup. And now the guys they're going to need to get going are the guys who are going to have to come back. Alvarez, although Terens was hitting very well when he was playing.
Right. Alvarez is going to need a few gains to get back. And you want to know something? When Alvarez's time with the Mets, I think they have a couple of more years. I don't know how much more of control they have of him, to be honest.
I guess
They're going to have to make a decision sooner or later because we're starting to see shades of Yoenis Cespedes with Francisco Lindor with the injury plague. The only difference is Francisco Alvarez didn't walk into a hole on his horse ranch. I mean, he just got torn up. But you're gonna
Alvarez is arbitration eligible until his last arbitration year is 2029.
okay, so 3 more years. They're gonna have to make a decision sooner or later. Are they gonna continue with him, or are they gonna bring up Pareda and see what he can do? Because Pareda is also having a much better year in AAA. I mean, I wouldn't want to see anything, I wouldn't want to pull Torrens out, but if, let's say, Alvarez gets injured again, I think they're going to bring up Pareda to give him a look.
I don't want to give up on a 24-year-old in Francisco Alvarez.
I'm not saying I want to give up. I'm saying I want to. You got to
No,
have.
no, I understand what you're saying. My thing would be this. We've heard a lot about Alvarez. We've seen glimpses. And I got to be honest with you. He's a very good defensive catcher.
Oh, absolutely.
The offense is eventually going to come. The thing I would use on Pareda, because I know they tried him in left field also, and there's been conversations about that. I think Parade is another guy you could use as a trade chip. And I know that may not sound like something you'd want to do, but let's think of it this way. They're going to need some things here. If they're going to get back, if they're back in it, they need a couple of things.
Yeah.
We could talk about another a right-handed hitting first baseman that could platoon with Jared Young, whoever that is.
Yeah.
Maybe if Senga isn't what we think Senga can come back to be, they need another starter. We've already plucked out Jet Williams, Brandon Sproat. That's been plucked.
Andrew Gilbert.
And well, I was just talking about for this
Oh,
year.
okay.
Right, Drew Gilbert. But Ben, Ewing, McLean, Tong, I'm going to presume are untouchables.
Yep. And I also would think Ryan Clifford is
Ryan
untouchable
Clifford
as well.
probably in that group too. So you need to move something to get.
Yep.
And so if you want to move Kevin Pareda or include him in a deal, now you just got to make sure it's something that'll benefit you, and you're not doing Josh Fields for Jordan Alvarez. Shout out the Dodgers for it.
Jordan would be an amazing, but the Mets don't have enough.
But again, also he's a guy without a position for the Mets.
Exactly.
Right. And
there's no way. You don't want to take out to put him in. That's all.
And I would prefer the Mets add a right-handed bat if they're going to add a bat.
You know, sorry.
No, just because the absence of Alonso. But look, they had a good May after a terrible April. They're off to a good start here in June. This is a critical homestand here. 3 with the Cardinals, 3 with the Braves. If you can go 4-2, like I listen, I know there are people who are out there going to go. They need 5-1 or 6-0. No,
No, not against these two.
4-2 winning homestand. That's all. As long as you keep chalking up wins, that's what matters. Get yourself to the All-Star break
Yep. Get
within
yourself
distance.
and keep yourself within at least 3 games. If you can get to 3 games by the All-Star break, then you
We
can start looking at some big name trades for the Mets.
and with the wild card being is look, they've played like listen, I apologize, I'm gonna swear. They played like shit in April. They played better in May. They're still within 5 games. They could have been dead and buried. You keep pounding on the door. Guys are going to come back healthy. Got certain guys are going to turn it around. And you just got to do the one thing every Met fan has to do every year since 1986.
Just believe, baby.
Just got to believe. And David Stearns, if you're watching, I blame you for the month of April. Anything you want to add?
No, I think we made our voices well known.
All right. That'll do it. You catch us again Sunday morning with Danny Boy Reginald for Batter Up. But until then, like, comment, subscribe here to the YouTube channel. Go to the website, thesportsinsanitynetwork.com for great blogs, vlogs, plane streams, and all automobiles. Follow the socials, Twitter, Insanity Real, Facebook, the Sports Insanity Network. The old ops guy, I'm Mike Rifkin. Talk to you all again very soon. Thanks for listening to a little Met Talk here on the Sports Insanity Network.